lickety pen?
How are you?
I will be there.
Dude, I've been on this one piece already for 2 months now.
Alright, it's Saturday. That would mean we'd be here in school on a Saturday. Alright, 4-7, inequality in two triangles. If two sides of one triangle are congruent to two sides of another triangle, if you have two pairs of congruent sides,
I don't know.
and the angles that are included, the included angles, included means between. So this side is congruent to this side is congruent to this side, and if the angles in between are not congruent, see how the P is bigger than the X? If those are not congruent, then that tells us that we can find the longer side across from the larger angle. Okay, it's just like yesterday. The only difference is that there's two angles, and it's a little bit easier than yesterday because you don't really have to crisscross things. You just have to find the bigger of the two. So, for your example here, if, stop all conversations please. If you know that the measure of angle P is greater than the measure of angle X, if that's given to you, or the measures are given, and you know that somehow, then compare QR, this segment right here, to YX. Decide which one is bigger. If angle P is the bigger angle right here, then which segment is going to be bigger?
Wait.
It's P,
Say it again.
YZ.
If P is bigger, see how the greater than sign is towards the P? You remember like the alligator?
Oh, yeah.
If this one's bigger, that's what greater means. If P is bigger, then look across from it. What's the bigger side going to be?
QR.
QR, so the open side goes towards QR. The greater than sign.
Okay. It's a little confusing, but
It's confusing because it's in letters. Let's use numbers now. Okay? That's just the rule written out. Yes, sir.
Why is the same as the brother?
look at Justin's face.
No, P is bigger. So that means QR is bigger. It's just the
Okay.
No, Tanner, I told you, like, if this was given to you, this was the given to you. So, you guys, don't forget you're being recorded. I gave you that warning. Everybody stop talking while I'm talking. Let's get these notes quick, rather than me constantly stopping and saying to stop talking. Alright, so, I told you already where the recording was, so my computer kept crashing. We're comparing AB to DE. So, we have to figure out which is bigger. How are we going to figure out? We're going to look across from it. AB is across from 63, and ED is across from 47, so which one's bigger? C is the bigger angle, so what's bigger, AB or DE? Yep, look across from the bigger angle. AB would be bigger. Because it's the opening from the bigger angle, 63 degrees. 47 degrees is smaller, so the side across from it is smaller. Okay? So it's the same as yesterday where the bigger angle is going to be found across from the bigger side and vice versa. So let's look at the example that's right there. They're asking us to compare GI right here with MN right there. So to know, I'm just going to write it out and then I'll put the greater than or the less than sign. To know, you look across from it. GI is across from 85, MN is across from 80. So which one's bigger?
The GI.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. The bigger one is across from the bigger angle, yeah? Okay. It's easier than yesterday because you don't have to crisscross and look across. You just find in the two separate triangles.
Why did this not given to you?
Something has to be given to you or you can't do the problem.
True.
Next one, fill these in. It's just backwards. If two sides of one triangle are congruent to two sides of another, but the third side is not congruent to the other, then you'll find the larger included angle across from the longer side. So, in this case, these two sides are congruent to each other. Look at the angle in between. If somehow you are given, or you know for a fact by numbers or whatever, if you know that QR is greater than YZ, if you know that somehow, QR is here, YZ is here, then compare the angles. Which angle would be bigger? If QR is the bigger side, then what's the bigger
P.
angle?
P.
P, that's right. Angle P would be greater than angle X. All right, writing it out in letters is more confusing. That's just the rule. Let's do it with numbers so it'll be more clear. So they're asking us to compare angle I and angle L. Let me highlight those for you. We're focusing on angle I and angle L. Determine which one is bigger, you look across.
L.
L, good. L is across from the 14, I is across from the 12. Since 14 is bigger, that makes L bigger. So put the open and the greater side towards the L. Okay. 14 is bigger, so angle L is bigger than angle I. So look at the last example for the theorems right here. They want us to compare angle M and angle Q. Before you tell me which one is greater, I'm just going to write down the two they're asking me to compare. Measure of angle M and measure of angle Q.
That's easy. Q.
Now look across. Why do you say Q?
Because it's 1 bigger than 6.
It's across from the bigger 7, right? Good. 7 is bigger than 6, and Q is across from that 7. Good. Okay, that's the idea. Now to just put a little bit more into it, look at the examples down below, and they make you solve for X, but the rule is the same. Okay, so in this case, you have to, the only thing that's different is you have to figure out which two you're comparing. And you're trying to compare this angle to this angle. You're not comparing the 12 and the 11 because you already can tell which one is bigger. You're comparing angle D to angle G.
That's kind of hard.
Write it down with me and you'll see, actually. So angle D is one that you're trying to find out, and angle G, 3x minus 2, that's one you're trying to figure out. I haven't done any work yet. All I did was write down the two parts. Okay? Good so far?
Yep.
Next is to look across from them. Which one would be the greater than, the 58 or the 3x minus 2?
The 58.
Good. This one's bigger, so that one's bigger. So put your greater than sign towards the 58 and then solve it.
How do you solve it?
You add 2 to both sides,
Oh.
and then you divide both sides by 3.
15 divided by 3
What is it?
20.
got it.
And I usually rewrite it like this. X is less than 20. Questions on that? All right, now there's one trick you have to remember.
That was kind of confusing.
We'll do a couple more. But here's the steps. Find the two parts you're comparing, put your greater than sign the correct way, and then just solve it for X. But it's the same idea. You would agree with me that D is bigger than G, right? Because D is across from 12. So once you find the bigger angle, then you just plug them in and solve it. But here's the thing. X is less than 20. And while that's true, it's not the only answer. Put a little note to the side here. And you have to do this every time you get a less than sign. When X is less than something, just write it in the middle. Whenever X is less than something, you have to do this last little step because we have to have a bottom boundary. X can't just be anything that's less than 20. Let's imagine that I said X was 0. 0 is less than 20. If I try to plug that in right here, 3 times 0 would be 0. And then you try to do minus 2, you can't have a negative 2 as your angle. Do you see that? So whenever that happens, we have to get a bottom boundary. And we're going to do it this way. 58 is already positive, but angle G has to be positive. That's the little note you have to deal with. Angle G has to be positive. We already know angle D is. 58 is not going to change, but this one depends upon the X. If I try to number, they won't all work, so I have to find the boundary. 3x minus 2, that's what angle G is. And I have to say that that has to be greater than 0. That's what positive means. It's not 0 and it's not negative. It's not smaller than 0. So to be positive, you're greater than 0. add 2 to both sides. Divide both sides by 3. And now we have another boundary for x. X has to be greater than 2 over 3.
What?
X has to be greater than 2 over 3.
They're not a number for you.
And you only have to do this when your problem said x was less than something. You need a bottom boundary. So now think about it. I want to write my final answer right here. What is the smallest number I should put on the left? 2/3. Good. I found this boundary right here, 2/3. And what's my biggest number I should put? 20. So we're going to write it just like we did the other section. 2/3 is less than x, which is less than 20. If you change it to a decimal, that's okay too.
I don't know how to do this. This part is complicated, so
Okay? You understood the reason though, right?
not really.
Okay. Give me a number that's less than 20.
16.
19. Okay? Both of those would work. Give me a smaller number that's less than 20.
14.
4.
7.
7.
14.
7.
All of those would still work. Give me a smaller one.
2.
1. Smaller.
1. 0.
Alright. -2. Now all those numbers, listen. All those numbers you said were not wrong. Okay? But those are going to be examples of things that will work. I want to show you one that won't work. So you would agree with me that -2 is less than 20, right?
Yes.
Let's try plugging it in. What's 3 times -2?
Not right now.
-6. What's -6 minus 2? -8. Is that possible? Can G be equal to -8 degrees?
No.
No, that's why we have to have a bottom boundary. It can't go below 2/3. Otherwise you would have a negative angle. Let's just try the next one together, and the more we do it, hopefully the more all the steps will fit for you. So we're going to start with what 2 things are going to get compared.
I know.
86 and compare that to what?
I know. 86 compared to 2x minus 4, and then 86 is bigger, so you put the greater sign there, and then you.
Okay, good. Let me write that down.
Alright.
2x minus 4 is being compared to 86. And he said that 86 is bigger. Why would he say that?
Because 14 is greater than 80.
Good, and it's across from the 14. So you take that one and you make that the bigger one. Everyone good with that so far?
Yeah.
So now you add 4 to both sides. Eduardo, did you work this one out already
Yeah,
too?
I did. Yep.
Okay, good. You're ahead of us all. 2x, maybe not all, you're ahead of some of us. What would that be?
It's, can I say?
45.
Okay. This says x is less than something. Whenever that happens, whenever x is less than something, you have to do the little side note. Because you need to know what the bottom boundary line is. Does it matter what x is for this one? No, that's going to be 86 no matter what. The value of x matters here. I have to keep this positive. I can't let this be a negative angle. So I have to make 2x minus 4 be greater than 0. I have to make it positive. If it was negative, then the angle couldn't exist. So if you add 4 to both sides, you get a positive 4. If you divide both sides by 2, you get a 2. The more and more I do, the more it'll just all fit for you.
That part's confusing.
Really?
Yeah, it actually really is.
Okay, solving it's not confusing, right?
No.
Writing greater than 0 is not confusing.
Oh, no.
So the confusing part is understanding why you have to do it.
No, it's the equation.
The equation is hard.
The whole
No.
note thing is just the whole note is just.
You use
Okay.
Like,
Oh, it makes sense.
it's a little.
But it's essential. Okay, it's essential. So as we keep doing it, it'll make more and more sense. But again,
Can we just cross it out?
no.
Hey, shut up, she's trying to teach.
Yeah. You have to bound the x in between numbers that will keep the angle as a positive number. So it's essential here. So we'll just keep doing more. As I want to write my final answer, what's my smallest possible number? 2. What's my biggest possible number?
45.
And x is between them.
Oh, I got that part.
This part I think the most